Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we cut through all the noise, look at the sources, and really pull out the knowledge you need. Today, we're sinking our teeth into something pretty specialized. It's aimed at, well, a very demanding crowd, the high-performance gamer.
Right.
We are talking about the REDMAGIC Astra Gaming Tablet. And this thing, it's trying to do something pretty ambitious, I think. Trying to bridge that gap between, a really high-end tablet and maybe a dedicated gaming console, but portable.
Yeah, it's a really interesting bit of kit. And the sources we've looked at give us a pretty deep view on whether they actually manage that.
Okay.
So we've basically synthesized a detailed review. It focuses on the 16 gig RAM, 512 gig storage Starfrost edition, the one specifically for the EU market.
Gotcha.
And REDMAGIC, I mean, they built their name pushing thermal limits in phones, right?
Yeah.
So they've brought that whole performance first thinking here.
So the mission for us today
Is really to dig in and see if this Astra thing actually delivers on that promise of desktop-level performance in a portable form factor. That's the claim.
Okay, right off the bat, the design, it definitely sends a message. It's not exactly subtle, but it looks effective.
Yeah.
This Starfrost edition, the review mentions, it's this cool, sort of icy white finish. Looks quite premium, actually, but still very gamer.
And the build quality feels solid.
Yeah, the source says it feels excellent. Uses a solid metal chassis, which, feels sturdy.
And did you notice the back, there were those subtle RGB lights back there?
Yeah, I saw that. Just a little touch.
Exactly. It's small, but it's like a nod to the target audience. Tells you this thing is built to play. And that metal chassis, the reviewer highlighted it, gives you confidence it can handle, like, long sessions.
Okay, let's dig into the screen first. That's your main window into everything, right? And if you're aiming at gamers, that has to be good.
Oh, absolutely. And the display is, well, it's probably one of the tablet's biggest strengths, honestly.
What are we looking at?
It's a big 12.1-inch QHD plus LCD panel, nice and sharp. But the real headline number here is the refresh rate.
Okay.
A super smooth 144 hertz. And that's not just, a number on a spec sheet. It really changes how things look and feel.
Right. For someone who maybe hasn't used a high refresh rate screen, what does going from, say, 60 or maybe 90 hertz up to 144 hertz actually, feel like?
It's all about fluidity. In games, it means everything looks smoother, animations are cleaner, there's less input lag, things feel more responsive. Really important for fast games.
Competitive stuff.
Definitely. But even outside of games, just like scrolling websites or moving around the OS, it feels really instant, snappy.
Okay, here's my my skeptical question then. If they want the absolute top-tier experience, why LCD? Why not OLED, for those perfect blacks and contrasts?
That's a fair point, and the review did touch on that. It seems like a calculated trade-off.
How so?
Well, yeah, an OLED would give you those really deep, inky blacks. No question.
Yeah.
But the LCD they've used here is apparently very high quality, still gets you vibrant colors, great clarity.
And upside.
The upside is likely cost. Using a really good LCD probably helped REDMAGIC keep the price down, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
It's key for their positioning. And critically, they still delivered that 144 hertz smoothness, which for pure gaming might actually matter more than absolute black levels.
Okay. Prioritizing frame rate and responsiveness over contrast makes sense for the audience.
Exactly.
And what about the size? 12.1 inches is pretty big. How's holding it? Is it immersive but still practical?
Yeah, they seem to have handled the ergonomics pretty well. The bezels aren't huge, which helps with the immersion, but they're crucially just wide enough.
Wide as for what?
To give you somewhere to actually grip the tablet without your thumbs accidentally hitting the screen.
Right.
Which, as you know, if you play mobile games, is super annoying.
Oh, yeah, instant frustration. That detail shows they get it. Okay, let's move from the screen to the engine room, because this seems to be where REDMAGIC really tries to stand out from your average tablet.
Right, this is the raw power part.
Yeah.
And yet, the Astra isn't messing around here.
What have we got?
It's running the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. Now, that's last year's flagship, technically.
But still incredibly capable.
Oh, massively powerful, yes. And they've paired it with a huge 16 GB of RAM. That's the fast LPDDR5X type.
16 gigs, wow. And storage.
512 GB of UFS 4.0 storage. Again, really fast.
Okay, that's a lot of high-end parts.
Yeah.
For someone listening who maybe doesn't follow every mobile storage type, what's the practical difference with UFS 4.0? Like if you're playing a big game like Genshin Impact?
That's a great question. UFS 4.0 is just much, much faster than the older 3.1 standard.
Okay.
Basically, it means loading times are way shorter.
Oh, okay.
When the game needs to pull in massive textures or you're moving between big areas, that speed means the storage isn't holding things back. It keeps everything flowing.
So the chip, the RAM, the storage, it all works together, so demanding games just run smoothly. Max settings.
Effortlessly, according to the review. Yeah, max settings, no problem.
But okay, speed creates heat, right? Especially in a thin tablet. Push games hard for an hour, most devices start to slow down, they throttle to avoid melting.
Exactly. Thermal throttling is the enemy of sustained performance.
And this is where REDMAGIC brings out its secret weapon.
This is it. This is the core thing the review highlighted. The ICE 13.0 cooling system. This is them taking all that cooling tech they developed for phones and scaling it up for the tablet.
And how does it work?
It's a hybrid system. There's a big passive vapor chamber inside to spread the heat out. But then they add an active cooling element, a small internal fan.
Yeah. A fan? Inside a tablet? That sounds kind of wild. And maybe a bit worrying. Like, noise, moving parts failing.
Yeah, that's the immediate reaction, right?
Yeah.
A fan seems like overkill, maybe adds complexity. Does it just get noisy and annoying?
Exactly my thought. Did the review mention the real-world experience with that?
It did, and that's the critical bit. The reviewer said, yes, there's a fan, but it's tiny and generally quiet enough that you don't really notice it during gameplay, especially once the speakers are going.
Okay.
And the trade-off is absolutely worth it. Because what of this ICE 13.0 system is consistency.
Consistency, meaning it keeps performing at a high level without dropping off.
Precisely. It's not just about hitting a high score and a benchmark for 5 minutes. It's about holding, say, a steady 60 frames per second, or even higher, for an hour, maybe 2 hours, without the performance tanking due to heat.
Right. No noticeable throttling.
Exactly. The review data showed the Astra stays much cooler to the touch, and its performance charts under heavy load are way flatter and more stable compared to tablets that only use passive cooling. And that stability, that sustained performance, is what actually makes that desktop-level performance claim feel, well, plausible.
Okay, so that active cooling, even with the potential fan noise risk, is maybe the single biggest thing setting this apart.
I think so.
You trade maybe a tiny bit of potential noise for hours of stable frame rates, which, yeah, a serious gamer would probably take that deal.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on from thermals, let's talk about sound. Complements the screen, right?
The source mentioned a quad speaker setup, which sounded pretty impressive on paper.
Yeah, and apparently it delivers. It's not just loud. The review noted it has really clear stereo separation.
Which helps in games, right? Hearing footsteps and stuff.
Vital for competitive play, yeah.
Yeah.
Better positional audio cues. And it's described as a full-bodied sound. Even has decent bass, which is nice for immersion in games or just watching movies. Makes the whole experience richer.
Okay, sound is good. What about the software managing all this custom hardware? Is the OS clean, or is it loaded up with bloatware?
Good news there, it seems. The sources say the software, which is REDMAGIC OS 9.0 running on Android 14, is actually pretty clean, fast, and light. It works fine just as a normal Android tablet.
But there's special gaming stuff, too.
Oh, yeah. The real magic happens in the dedicated game space interface.
Game space? Sounds like a gamer's command center.
It basically is.
Right.
And it's not just like an on-off switch for game mode. It gives you really granular control.
Like what?
You can pull up performance profiles in real time, choose between saving battery or going max power. You can manage notifications really carefully so nothing interrupts you. And you can monitor system stats live.
Like CPU temps and stuff.
Yeah, CPU temp, usage, frame rates, all that. It lets you really fine-tune how the hardware runs for the specific game you're playing.
Okay, makes sense. Let's talk power then. All this high performance, 144 hertz screen, active cooling. That must chew through battery. It has a big 10,000 milliamp cell, which sounds huge.
It is huge, yeah.
But the charging speed was what really caught my eye in the review.
The 80W fast charging, it's pretty incredible for a tablet. The source timed it. 0 to 100% battery in roughly 40 minutes.
40 minutes? That's ridiculously fast.
It's rapid recovery. Think about it, like you take a quick break for dinner, plug it in, and it's basically full again when you come back.
That speed almost feels necessary, though, because there's a big but coming with the battery, isn't there?
Yeah.
We have to mention the downside.
We do, yeah. Got to be realistic. While that 10,000 milliamp battery is massive on paper, pushing that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 hard, plus the bright 144 hertz screen, plus that cooling fan.
And it drains fast.
It inevitably drains the battery quicker than you might expect from the capacity number alone, especially during intense gaming. The review is clear. If you're planning a long gaming marathon, that EDW charger isn't just nice to have, it's pretty much essential.
So it's a conscious choice. Max performance over maximum battery endurance when gaming.
Exactly. They've prioritized keeping those frames high.
Okay, let's get to the elephant in the room. No gadget's perfect. We've praised the performance a lot, but what were the weak spots, the things the reviewer didn't like?
The main criticisms were actually about features that the target audience, the core gamer, probably cares least about. Well, first, the cameras. They're described as firmly average. Fine for a video call, maybe, but you're not buying this to take amazing photos.
Okay, fair enough for a gaming tablet. What else?
Second, and this is maybe a bigger deal for some people, there's a noticeable lack of official accessories, like a stylus or a keyboard cover.
Ah, that's a big miss if they wanted to compete with, say, an iPad Pro or a top-end Samsung tablet, right? Those are often positioned as productivity devices, too.
It is a miss if that was their goal. But the reviewer framed these as sort of minor complaints precisely because of the target audience.
Explain that.
The thinking is, the person buying this Astra primarily for high-end gaming likely isn't too fussed about a first-party stylus. They're probably using an external Bluetooth controller or maybe their own keyboard anyway.
So REDMAGIC focused resources on the gaming performance, not on building out a productivity ecosystem.
Seems like it. By skipping the expensive development of official, maybe proprietary accessories, they keep the overall package price leaner and laser-focused on that core gaming promise, performance above all else.
And that strategic focus, that prioritization, brings us nicely to the final takeaway from the review, the value, the price to performance.
Yeah, this is kind of the mic drop moment for the Astra. Even with that powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the 16 gigs of RAM, the fast storage, and that unique active cooling system.
The price is good.
The price, at least in the EU market the review covered, is very competitive.
Yeah.
It makes the Astra really disruptive. The conclusion was basically that it offers truly premium gaming performance for like a serious chunk less cash than a similarly spec'd iPad Pro.
So you get the gaming power, but without paying the premium for productivity features you might not need.
Exactly. You're not paying that productivity tax.
Okay, so if we pull everything together, the REDMAGIC Astra isn't just another powerful tablet. It's very deliberately designed. It successfully blends speed, a certain gamer style, and crucially, that advanced cooling needed to run demanding games well for long periods. It's cool.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively, I guess.
Yeah, and if you had to boil it down to the key technical insight, the thing that really lifts this tablet, it isn't just using a flagship chip. Lots of tablets do that.
Right.
It's the specific choice to combine that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 with the active fan-assisted ICE 13.0 cooling. That active cooling is the real game changer here. It's what stops that peak performance from just fading away into frustrating thermal throttling after 10 minutes.
It really does set a different standard for sustained mobile performance, doesn't it?
It does, which, it raises a pretty interesting question for you, the listener, to think about as this kind of tech develops.
Go on.
If this sort of aggressive active cooling, we're talking internal fans, big vapor chambers, if it proves reliable and maybe gets even more efficient or smaller, how might that change what we expect from performance, battery life, even the physical shape of all high-end devices, not just gaming ones? Could we see this in mainstream flagship phones or tablets someday? What would that mean? What stands out to you about where sustained performance in mobile could go next?